Hi, Charles of Sir Booksage here, and this is my very first ever Top 5 Wednesday video. I just joined the Top 5 Wednesday Goodreads group this morning. It is a Goodreads group hosted currently by Thoughts on Tomes. I will link to the Goodreads website below, and I'll link to Thoughts on Tomes YouTube channel as well. And since it's my very first Top 5 Wednesday I'm participating in, I'm of course going to break the rules. And I apologize up front, but I have actually a very valid reason for doing so. I've only been on BookTube for about 2 weeks, so I don't actually have books I've read because of BookTube yet. But I do have an ever-growing list of books I will be reading because of BookTube. The very first one of those I'm actually about to start reading in just 4 days, on October 1st. So before next Wednesday's Top 5 Wednesday topic rolls around, I should be well into my first book I read because of BookTube. So I'm kind of counting that as close enough. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Number 1 is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. This is a Victorian-era Gothic vampire book written in 1871, 26 years before Bram Stoker's Dracula. And the reason I'm actually reading this, particularly because of BookTube, is Books and Things is a huge Victorian-era literature fan. She's doing a whole Victober this whole month of October. And in her announcement video, she's not reading Carmilla this month, but she does talk about it in her announcement video for Victober. And that sounds perfect for my October TBR. I'm doing a whole kind of horror-themed TBR for October. I'll link that video down. I actually published that this morning. So I'll link that video down below as well so you can see the things that I'm reading for the month of October that touch on about 4 different read-a-thons as well. So if you're into read-a-thons, click the video and you'll see all the different read-a-thons I've kind of stumbled across. Back to my top 5. Now, number 2 on the list, it is impossible, having watched, I don't know how many, 100 BookTube videos by this point, it is impossible to not have the Wayward Children series on my list. So I'm going to be diving into Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. Really looking forward to it. Everyone seems to rave about this series. I've only ever heard great things about Seanan McGuire as a writer. I actually have her Doomsday Armageddon book that's been on my Kindle for quite a little while. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. Everyone keeps talking about this Wayward Children series, and I don't know much about it. Once I know I want to read something, I try to stay away from everyone talking about it because I don't want to be spoiled at all. All I know is there's Gateways to Alternate Worlds, which, as a speculative fiction avid reader, that's right up my alley. I have read many books over the decades that have that mechanism within, and it's always a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, number 3 is, of course, another one I see everyone talking about is the Raven cycle, the Raven series, starting with The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Stiefvater? I actually wrote Steve Otter in parentheses to try to remember how to pronounce her last name. But again, I don't know a lot about this. All I know is it's like kids or young adults searching for magical or ley lines of power. And Doctor Who, Torchwood fan, ley lines, ears perk right up. That's all I needed to know. I got to read that. Now, I know it has nothing to do with Doctor Who and Torchwood, obviously, but I love that concept, and that's enough to intrigue me. And again, everyone raves about this story as well. So it's one it'd be impossible to ignore. The next one, number 4, is another series that, just having watched Thoughts on Tomes YouTube channel, there is no way I can't dive into the Grisha series. So I know there's a trilogy and then there's a duology. And I hear some people say the duology is better. Some people like all of them equally. I'm starting with Shadow and Bone since that's the first book she published in the series. So I'm going to go with that. Next up is number 5. And this one's a bit different from most of the things I've mentioned so far. And this is The Gracekeepers by Kirsty Logan. Kirsty is, I think, a Scottish author. And the reason I'm going to be reading this is Bookish Betsy has an author spotlight on Kirsty Logan that she just, I think, put up about a week ago. And all of the things she talked about, the different books, all sound really interesting. They deal with There's magic and a lot of Scottish myth and legend kind of woven in to the stories she writes. The Gracekeepers is the one my local library has, so that's the one I'm going to start with. And apparently there's a circus, and the Gracekeepers, their job is to send bodies to their final resting place out at sea. So lots of different things apparently are in this book. I don't know how a circus over there and someone living on an island putting bodies into the ocean, what they have to do with each other, how they interconnect, but that's the whole point of reading. Now I've rambled on long enough. I am Charles of Sir Booksage, and happy reading.